Welcome everyone to our live consultation with Dr. Scott Miller. Scott is here to answer your questions about MyOutcomes Advanced Behavioral Algorithms and Reporting Features and how the new algorithms will change the way you look and think about session and service target reporting. MyOutcomes version 14 includes important changes to benchmarking and reporting features. The most impactful changes with this release are the move from an expected treatment response based on average client progress to a more predictive success, non-success model. Scott is going to be joining me a minute to talk a little bit more about that, but first I'm going to familiarize you with the changes you will see in the system when we go live this Friday night. This is the Scatterplot. This is a new reporting feature where clinicians can see their entire client's status on one graph with a red, yellow, or green dot for each client displayed on the scatter plot, and when you roll over the dot, it will show you the client ID. On the graph, we have a new update past session feature that allows us to include a note. So you can make a note about a session and have it appear when you roll over the session score on the graph. And on the provider homepage, we have now added skip a session, so it can be accessed simply from here. And there's been a number of changes made to the aggregate stats page. Average raw change, average session change, and average service change have all been removed as an individual reliable change index is computed for each client, which is basically the service target, the change between the intake score and the service target. It's roughly, but much more accurate measure. Average intake SRS. This is a new feature that indicates whether the therapist is able to elicit the feedback needed to improve engagement. So ideally, at intake, we want to see an SRS that's coming in below the 36 clinical cutoff. Corrected effect size and session effect size have also been changed to relative effect size. And Scott's going to talk a little bit more about that. Percent of clients reaching service target. You're also going to see that definition has changed to the percentage of clients scoring in the green zone, which represent the successful outcomes. So then next we have the dashboard. And on the dashboard, we have gotten rid of 10% below as this is no longer relevant in the new system because the red scores are predictive of clients who will end treatment unsuccessfully. And so the red hand, which used to be the red score, has now also been replaced with off track, and yellow is now replaced with at risk. Additionally, there have been changes to the feedback system. It's now it's much simpler than the old system. When the score is below this bottom regression line, it's going to be coded red, and if it's in between in this yellow zone, it's yellow, and if it's above, it's green. All right, so now I would like to bring Scott on and talk with Scott a little bit about some of these changes. And then after, so Scott's going to kind of explain a little bit more about what you're seeing here on the graph, comparing the old expected treatment response to the new, talking about some of these changes. And then we're going to go into a Q&A session where we're going to, I'm going to give some of the questions that we've received and some of the feedback we've received from some of our super users. And then we'll be taking questions from our attendees. And so if you have a question, you can just go ahead and put that in the chat section. All right, so Scott, thanks for joining us.